Hello again, everybody. I'm going to make a video just to give us a rundown of the syllabus and the course calendar, and also to go through just kind of the flow of the class and how to navigate the Blackboard site. To make that the easiest for you, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to look at this together. Just a fair warning, this video is a little bit longer because I'm kind of going over the whole kind of intro to the class. Your first week in terms of content and videos is probably one of the longest, but it does ease up from here. So fair warning there. Just want to kind of put that out in the world. So what you're looking at currently is the intro to our Blackboard site. When you first click on our site, you will always be directed to the announcements page. You're going to get a lot of information through announcements. I always make sure that if I send an announcement, I send it to your email as well. But if you ever need to come back to announcements, that it is here for you. I'm going to be kind of jumping back and forth a little bit between the Blackboard site and the syllabus, so that you just kind of get a sense of where things lie as I'm talking about them. So when you start the class, if you come over here to start here, you're going to see a couple things. Hopefully you've already seen the introducing your instructor video. This video will be in this same area as well, and I'm also going to put it under the syllabus and course calendar section. So under the start here, there's just a little bit of information, background about myself, the syllabus, the course calendar, some information about setting up your USI email and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and start by looking at the syllabus and talk through it first, and then we'll come back to the Blackboard site. So I already have the syllabus pulled up over here. Let me make that a little bit larger so everyone can see. I'm not going to read through everything, but I am going to hit on some highlights and then count on you guys to read the rest. So some key information. This is Social Work 222. This is one of 4 key social work classes that have to be taken prior to entering into the BSW program here at USI. You have to earn at least a C or higher on it in order to get into the social work program, in addition to some other requirements. My name is Aaron Pryor. I'm my MSW, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. This is my work email, my work phone. Class location is Blackboard only. This is not synchronous. It's not quite an asynchronous class. You guys will be working within the same week of one another, but within that week you can work at your own pace, but it is entirely online. There is no scheduled meeting times for lectures or anything like that. And then office hours for myself are by appointment only. I do work here at USI. I'm on campus and I'm here Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, but I don't hold regular office hours. All appointments will be by scheduling them, and they are going to be preferred by Zoom this year especially. So just a real quick course description. I'm not going to spend much time reading the syllabus, but this I'm going to look at just real quickly so we have a sense of what this class is about. This course explores the philosophical and historical evolution of the American social welfare system. Course content covers public and voluntary efforts to deal with poverty and other social problems. Content addresses theories of political influence on social change. Content on social justice, oppression, discrimination, spirituality, and diversity are included. And this is open to all students. Below that, it goes a little bit more in depth into some of the content specifics. But basically what we're looking at are some of the social issues that have existed within the American society, and then society's response in the form of social welfare programs and policies to address things like poverty and housing and food insecurities. And we're going to be looking at that through things like food stamps, through WIC, how healthcare policies have transformed over time. So that's just kind of a real broad overview of what this class is about. This class, if you want to dive into some of the objectives, you can do that. They're going to be covered weekly on Blackboard. You'll be able to see from unit to unit what objectives we're covering. This also covers what they call the CSWE competencies. So you're going to cover a degree of competencies if you enter the BSW program. So this just goes into what competencies are being covered in this class. Continues to do so. So here is really important information. This is our course textbook, A New History of Social Welfare, 7th edition by Day. In case you're wondering, is this a class that needs the textbook? The answer to that question is an absolute yes, for sure it does. This class is very heavily dependent upon this book. to the point where your quizzes, the quiz questions are often pulled straight from the text. The discussion boards are pulled from your readings as well. And because it's an online class, you're obviously going to have access to those materials to go back to. So you're going to want to have this book handy, as a lot of course content is coming from this textbook. As I stated earlier, this is a web course, so this just talks about the fact that pretty much everything is going to be coming to you via the web. Announcements, your syllabus assignments, everything is going to be delivered to you through Blackboard. This goes through some minimum technology. Obviously, you need access to the internet, access to some browsers, because we're going to watch some videos through YouTube and things like that. And then it goes into some other specifics as well. Your instructor feedback, most of your feedback is going to be coming to you through your individual grades. So especially on your projects, I will make sure to add grading feedback on those. But often, because this is an online class and everyone's kind of approaching it at different times in different ways, one of the most common ways that you'll get feedback is through the announcement section, because that goes to everyone. So if I'm seeing common themes popping up of confusion about a topic or misunderstanding about an assignment, that I will address the whole class through announcements. So watch those announcements very closely and watch your email very closely. The next thing down is our requirements for grading in terms of what is being graded, how much those assignments are worth, and what your overall points are for the class. So this class is out of 500 points. As I said, if you are pursuing the BSW program admission, you can earn no less than a C. So your point threshold for this class will be 350 points. So if you want to mark that down somewhere, or just kind of keep that in mind. And the breakdown for that is below. So here's, generally speaking, what our class is going to look like. So we're going to have 14 quizzes at 5 points each. They're going to be delivered to you weekly. We're going to cover 15 chapters in the class, but instead of having a quiz on the last week, we're going to have a final exam, which you'll see listed here for 100 points. We're going to do a timeline assignment part 1 and part 2, which I'll go into here in a little bit. And then every week, we're also going to have discussion boards, 15 of those at 8 points each. There's that final exam I mentioned. And then we're also going to have a professionalism grade for 30 points as well, bringing our total to 500. So what does that break down to? So let's look at some of those in depth. I'll try to hit the highlights, but please come back and read each of these on your own time as well. So professionalism, 30 points. For the most part, this is kind of a general participation grade. So as long as you're engaged in class, you shouldn't have any problems getting your professionalism points. One caveat is that in addition to the discussion boards, there is an expectation of participation involved with that on a weekly basis. And that will also reflect within your professionalism grade as well. So it could be a two-part hit if you're not engaging in discussion boards. So you'll see here in the red, not engaging fully in week's discussion boards, one original post and 2 peer responses will automatically cause additional point reduction in professionalism. So even when I have the most professional student within the course, if you don't submit 4 different discussion boards or something like that, you'll see a dip not only in your discussion boards, but also in your professionalism. And that's because as a professional, you're expected to engage and get your material in on time, or your required material in on time, and all that kind of stuff. So next, quizzes. So like I said, there'll be 14 of those. They're going to come straight from your text. So just make sure that you have that book, as I mentioned. You're going to have 2 timeline assignments. I'm going to make a whole separate video covering your timeline assignments, but basically what it's going to break down to is you're going to choose a social welfare program, and then you're going to look at the history of that program and its evolution over time. And so you're going to, in part 1, record 30 different dates that have impacted the evolution of that program. And then in part 2, you're going to look at 5 of the most significant events and focus on explaining why those are the most significant events within your timeline. And this part 2 is going to be done in a bit of a creative way, or at least you'll have the option to do that in a creative way. Here is the information about the weekly discussion boards. Let me spend a little bit of time on this because every semester I have students who get really confused about this. So, and it's worth 120 points. So your weekly discussion boards overall are worth more than your final exam. And you're basically being graded on participation. So I want you to engage. I don't want you to worry about, am I getting the right or wrong answer to this? It's all about engagement, engagement, engagement. So these are throwaway points if you're not doing your discussion boards. So in each chapter, we're going to have reflective questions. To answer the questions, you need to submit a solid original post in the form of full sentences. The length should be 1 to 2 paragraphs as a minimum. Bullet points will not be accepted. You must respond to a minimum of 2 peers to receive full credit. You receive 4 points for your original post and 2 points for each of your peer responses. The discussion boards are a post-first format, meaning you must develop your original thought before having access to your peers' post. So when you click on a discussion board, if you don't see a bunch of other posts on there, that's because you need to submit your own post first. And I put a little comment on here. I said, for reference, I can see if anyone submits a blank post first to access other discussion boards. I say that because what happens a lot is someone will submit a blank post, gain access to other discussion boards, and then when they go in there, they pick through everyone else's discussion boards, see what the common themes are, and then try to make a discussion board based off of that, and they're not producing original thought. Like I said, I'd rather you submit something that is way off base from the question than to not submit something at all. So just give it your best effort. Please have your original discussion board post in by Thursday of each week, and then your peer responses are going to be due by Sunday. The reason I separated that is that in the past, students would just wait until Sunday, and then you'd have the same 3 or 4 students who are working ahead, submitting to one another, and then other people were just kind of rushing in at the end to try and get everything done, and so it was a mess. So Thursday for original, Sunday for peer responses. And then also in your peer responses, try to give some thoughtful responses to your peers. So things I said to please avoid. Brian, I totally agree with what you said here. You know, if you want to put something like that, that's cool, but you need to back that up with more. Samantha, great job with your explanation. These are not enough to get your peer response points. So just make sure that you identify something specific that was said in their post, and then try to respond with it and thoughtfully. And then last, for your points, your final exam, 100 points. The final exam we'll talk about as we get closer to time, but a lot of that is going to be pulled from your discussion board questions as well. So if you're getting stuff wrong on your, not your discussion boards, on your quizzes. So if you're getting things wrong on your quizzes, make sure that you go back and understand why. Make sure you go through and identify the things that you knew really well, things you need to go back to. So it's going to be pulled from the most important aspects of the quizzes throughout the year. And then most importantly, all assignments are due on Sunday by 11:59 p.m. So there is a bonus opportunity on here as well. So come through and read up on it. And then let me scroll down a bit here to the late assignment policy. So I do have a late assignment policy, but something that I want to highlight within the green is that if something occurs, please contact me. I encourage communication. I'm really easy to work with. I'm flexible, but it's really hard for me to work with somebody and to be flexible if there is not communication. So I know that during COVID times, especially, things happen, but I can't, I'm not a mind reader, so I can't work with you if I don't know what's happening. So make sure to get that out to me as soon as you can. The rest of the stuff on here, it's a lot of statements from the university and access to resources and things like that. So the last thing I'm going to jump to on here is the course calendar. So you'll see just kind of in a general clip that every week we're doing one chapter, and it's in order. Because there's not a spring break this year, it really does truly fall in order. So week 10 is chapter 10, week 13 is chapter 13. So you should be able to stay on track pretty easily. Start looking ahead at where the other things lie in our class, like timeline part 1 is going to be due in week 4. or at the end of week 4. Timeline part 2 is going to be due on the 21st. And then this chapter 15, this is where our final exam is going to lie as well. So the course calendar is fairly simple for you to go back and look, but and I stay on track for the most part. I'll let you know if we sidetrack at all, but this should help guide you through the class. So I'm going to go ahead and close off the calendar here, jump back to the Blackboard site, and keep looking at some other highlights. So you're under the start here. If you click on the syllabus and course calendar, it's just that same kind of information as well. This is a link to the USI academic calendar. So if there are changes, revisions from the university side, then this is a link to that as well. This is the announcements page. Like I said, you will default into here when you click on the class, but you can always come back to it. Office hour information. So if we do have office hours, Zoom is going to be preferred. Also, phone and email is great. But if we do a Zoom, this is a link to my personal Zoom meeting as well. And then let's jump into the actual content, what you're going to be doing from week to week. As I said, week 1 is going to look a little bit heavier just because of all of the kind of intro information, and then things kind of thin out, especially after week 4, you get your first assignment done, your first part of the project. And then things kind of lighten up a little bit. So if you can make it through the first couple weeks, then you're going to be golden in this class. So so each unit kind of looks the same. We start with kind of an overview of what's going to be due. So like for week 1, you see review the syllabus and course calendar, know how to access the NASW Code of Ethics, watch the intro video, the faculty introduction video, watch the syllabus introduction video. So you see kind of a checklist every single week of things that are due for you. And then below that, I have that same information to the best of my ability linked in order. So I'll link back to the syllabus, the Code of Ethics. You'll see a PowerPoint every week. So the PowerPoints, one thing I will note about those is that these PowerPoints are pulled from the course text directly. And the way that I suggest using the PowerPoints is that you read the PowerPoint first because it helps you identify key terms and key ideas, and then read your textbook, right? So if you're looking through here, you'll be able to see things like, okay, well, when I'm reading through the text, maybe I should focus on what are the Judeo-Christian values that they talk about, and how does that influence kind of the history of social welfare, right? So, you know, when I'm reading through, I should, when classism and poverty pop up, those are things that I should focus on, right? So use the PowerPoint as kind of a pre-reading guide. Here are your quizzes. So quiz 1, like I said, it'll be 5 questions each. Once you start the quiz, you can save it, you can go back to it. It's open from the beginning of the week to the end of the week, that Sunday at 11:59 p.m. After that point, it becomes late. So make sure you get that done. And like I said, this class is kind of synchronous, asynchronous, in that you won't be able to do quiz 2 right now. You won't be able to access it until Monday morning at 12:01 a.m. So the quizzes will open every week. The discussion boards, you can, in theory, work a little bit ahead on if you wanted to do that. But the quizzes, you'll only be able to do them the week that they are available. A link to the discussion board. And then in week 1, I'm also going to have you guys do a Flipgrid introduction. So you're going to click on this link and go to Flipgrid, and you're going to do just a brief introduction, kind of like I did in my introductory video, 1 to 3 minutes, just kind of talking about yourself, your interests, your major, and those kinds of things. So, so that is week 1. If you click on week 2, just for comparison, you see the same kind of format start to pop up. This again is a little bit heavier because we're talking a little bit about the intro to the timeline assignment. So that's why that one looks kind of heavy as well. You will notice on unit 2, there is a supplemental video. I'll throw those in there as well to help drive home ideas. And then you'll see that same pattern repeated from week to week. So there's week 3. And then, and that's it. So you just kind of, 1 week at a time, just kind of chew this thing away a little piece at a time, and you're going to be doing okay in the class. Below that on course content is the quick access to the discussion boards. So we'll see if it loads up. Here we go. So quick access to the discussion boards. So here's chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. The chapter 1 is actually not information being pulled from the book. This one is more of a fun discussion board just to get you in the habit of navigating the discussion boards. And then this first one that you see that's kind of lengthy and takes up the whole kind of start here, this is actually related to your timeline project. So if you're watching this video, thank you for making it this far. It's a great time for you to come in here and read over this kind of intro piece, because with your timeline, when it comes to your topic, it's going to be first come, first serve. So you're going to come in here, you're going to choose a program that you like, you're going to come into your discussion board, and you're going to state, I want to do family planning, or I want to do the child tax credit, or I want to do TANF, or whatever. And within the discussion board, if you're the first person that posted that, that's your topic. So there's a benefit to coming in here and getting a jump start on that one. And then the next thing you'll see on here is timeline part 1 and part 2. These are kind of placeholder videos from last year. These are going to be updated by the time you get to them. Like I said, because these are such a large piece of the class, it's going to have its own video that you can come back to and watch later. So below that, we have just some tools for the class where you can come in here and check your grades. We have the calendar where you can come in here. I'm in student preview, so you won't see anything for me, but because you are enrolled in the class, you'll see when the quizzes and the discussion boards are due. So the calendar is important. If you need to send me an email, you can do that through this link as well. So yeah, those are kind of the general tools for the class. So as far as the syllabus and the course calendar and navigating the Blackboard site, that is kind of a good general overview. So I'm going to stop sharing here, and thank you for making it this far into the video. If you did, I know it was kind of long, and there's going to be some other stuff to watch about the timeline assignments. If you want to start that week 1, that's awesome. If not, feel free to kind of give yourself a break and start watching those videos in week 2. But we definitely want to get a jump start on that too. But anyways, I want to thank you again for coming to the class. And one thing I'll encourage you over and over again is that if you need something, please contact me, call me, email me. Let's set up a Zoom. I'm curious about what you're doing, and I want to help however I can. And I'm here to answer questions, and I want to see you guys succeed. So anyways, thank you again. I look forward to seeing everything you submit and making it through the semester with you guys. Take care.